Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Family Sedan channel. Some of the ideas in this video might sound a bit wild to you, and if they strike you that way, frankly, I don't blame you because I think they're wild too. But they're real, actually. What if XRP, as we know it today, became XRP Cash? Could something like that happen? I mean, think back to 2017 when Bitcoin forked and Bitcoin Cash was created. There was a time in, two competing chains now, we didn't know which was actually going to be which, and it really depended on the degree to which it was adopted and just how, things unfolded organically. But there wasn't any sort of certainty at the time as to what would be what. And there happens to be a situation right now where we find ourselves in that, like, literally as an XRP community, as XRP holders, where we may be confronting something like that. But look, before going any further, though, I do want to be clear. I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Okay, so I do want to be upfront with you as far as the latest developments, most of which have really been discussed only within the last, call it 2-3 days roughly. Admittedly, I'm still wrapping my head around this, and I never pretend to know everything. I don't ever call myself an expert. I'm going to share with you the things that I do know, and then my hope is the same as it's always been since I launched this channel, is that we work as a community to inch further and further towards the truth, whatever reality is, and have thought-provoking conversations and debate. That's pretty much it here. So I'm going to share with you the bits that I do know, while acknowledging up front here, I don't know everything, and I need to have a better understanding of this, but it's also early days, so it's kind of hard to have a firm opinion on certain things. And as far as all the details that would be necessary to have a firm opinion, I haven't been able to collect them yet. I'm not convinced they're all out there. A lot of this stuff is in the heads of developers, frankly, so far as I can tell anyway. So anybody that has additional information, please drop it in the comment section below. Let's work as a community to inch further towards the truth. And I also want to give a shout out and credit to my fellow XRP YouTuber, Crypto Eddie, who shared the clip that's on your screen here with David Schwartz. So to kick things off here, David Schwartz, I believe it was 2 days ago, he was on a podcast and he was interviewed, and I transcribed a few of the things that he said that were relevant, and I want to share this first so that you understand the degree to which this is true and why we might be confronting such a thing, or maybe we already are, and it's just not quite broadly known at this particular point. But things are happening right now, and there's a reason that this is all being discussed right now. So just so that you understand that this is a real concept that really can happen, I'm going to start with his brand new comments from just a couple days ago, and then I'm going to share with you exactly where this is coming from, which is from, well, I can just tell you this part now before we jump into it. It comes from Wietse Wen's XRPL Labs, which has actually been rebranded, which I think is a sign of exactly where he's at right now. He's not exactly thrilled with the fact that his Hooks Amendment, which would offer Layer 1 smart contracts on the XRP ledger, hasn't even gotten to a point where it can be voted on. So he's basically just creating a side chain so that it can exist. Then the question is competing chains here. XRP and the side chain competing. Well, in terms of adoption, what's going to happen, where the developer's going. So that's in a nutshell it. So, but here is what David Schwartz had to say. This was a 2-minute clip. I just transcribed a few of the most relevant portions of this. And so here's the first thing that I want to share with you. David Schwartz in this clip, which was shared by Crypto Eddie, David Schwartz said, quote, "There was never anything preventing people from running their own validators, forking the network, and there still isn't today. If there's something about the XRP ledger you don't like, whether it has something to do with Ripple or nothing to do with Ripple, you can offer software that has that feature or has that change that you want. You can run validators that support that feature the way that you want, and then we'll decide which blockchain they want to be on. It's extremely democratic, and it has been, I'd argue, since the source code was public," end quote. And I'd also like to note, the XRP ledger actually has already been forked over the years, at least 3 times that I'm aware of. Now, all three of those projects, and maybe there's been more, I'm just unaware, but all three of the projects that I was aware of when I struggled to come up with the names because they're so insignificant and irrelevant at this point, all three failed to gain adoption, and they just kind of withered on the vine and died. But I like that can happen. Now, by the way, the reason that you don't typically see the forking of the network is because there is this process which apparently is kind of failing here, as you'll see as we go through further. There's this really nice amendment process built into the XRP ledger, so that's one reason, although it seems to be falling short here so far as I can tell anyway. And then on top of that, are we arguing about block size? Are we Bitcoin? No. So when it comes to the XRP ledger and XRP, it just works. It's great for payments. It's blazing fast speed, real-time settlement effectively. So what's there to argue over there? Well, it turns out there's still things to argue over, as you'll see as we go through this. But when it comes to functionality, just, compared to Bitcoin, there is nothing to argue about effectively. So that's why there haven't been so many forks at to this point. Here's another quote from David Schwartz. He said, "There's nothing that Ripple could do to stop you from creating a competing chain. And then, as happened with Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, if you remember, there was a disagreement over the rules of Bitcoin, and someone created a competing set of rules. And what happened is for a short period of time, we didn't know which Bitcoin was going to be Bitcoin. And the same thing could happen with the XRP ledger," end quote. Exactly. So as Bitcoin forked, there was no guarantee that the Bitcoin that had been known as Bitcoin up to that point would continue to be adopted and still be Bitcoin. Just like if you could think about Ethereum today, well, that's not the original Ethereum. Ethereum Classic is the original Ethereum. So to think that XRP, as we know it today, couldn't become XRP Cash is incorrect, for sure. And history has shown that. Now, I'm not saying that XRP will become, in the future, known as something like XRP Cash or XRP Cash-esque. I'm not saying that that's what's going to happen. I don't know. What I'm saying is that there can be competing chains, and then people just decide. It really is. I mean, when you're talking about something that's open source, that's decentralized, people just choose, and then things happen. They just do. And then let me make sure there wasn't something else I wanted to comment on this particular quote. Yeah, maybe that was all I wanted to say on that one. Yeah, there's just uncertainty sometimes when this stuff happens, and it's just, that's why it's so fascinating, though, and that's why you see, and trust me, there's a lot more to cover in this video. There are reasons that things are in motion here. I don't know what's going to happen, but yes, we could find ourselves in that position. We just need to be aware. And again, I'm still learning that, like, because we're talking about utilizing XRP on two different chains, and I understand. I'm trying to figure out how in the weeds I want to get on this, because I do understand that you can effectively on one chain lock up a cryptocurrency and then have a representation of that, kind of like a wrapped token on a separate chain. What I'm not clear of at this point, which is why I was just upfront at the beginning here, what I'm not clear of, is it going to be something like that, or is there a separate token? So admittedly, I'm still learning, but there also hasn't been that much made public, that at least that I found. Maybe I've missed stuff. But that's why I just wanted to be pretty clear that I'm still learning. Let's work together and figure out the rest. And then here was another quote, and this one's a short one. David Schwartz said, "It could be that there's XRP and XRP Cash, and we won't know which one is XRP," end quote. And then shortly after that, he said, quote, "It's going to be the one that the community adopts," end quote. So at the outset of the video, when I was talking about this idea of could XRP become XRP Cash, I wasn't saying that to just, kind of pique everyone's interest. I mean, it is interesting, obviously, but David Schwartz said that 2 days ago. So it's not impossible. It's not Fantasyland stuff. It actually could happen. And XRP's, the XRP ledger, it's always been designed to work like that, which is a good thing. So what's gotten all this talk going? Well, here's some comments from Wietse Wind. He's the founder of XRPL Labs, which has been rebranded, actually, as it turns out. And on June 1st, here's what Wietse Wind had to say. I'm going to share this thread in its entirety. And kind of in a nutshell, my understanding anyway, is that Wietse Wind created the Hooks Amendment for the XRP ledger. It's been active and functional on a developer network since some point in 2021, but it hasn't even gotten to a point where it's being voted on. And I don't want to put words in his mouth, so I won't do that, but I think that he's feeling frustrated, and I think his actions show that. So admittedly, I'm kind of speculating a bit here. I don't know that as fact. But again, with renaming the company so that it's not XRPL Labs, at least that's my understanding. I think that's what it said. I'm going to catch up. And I just found this out tonight, to be honest with you. So if I'm mistaken on that, then I will retract it. I'm working in real time here. But that's my understanding. But I think that there perhaps might be some level of frustration with this Hooks Amendment not even getting to the point where it's getting voted after all this time. And the Hooks Amendment is interesting because it allows smart contract capability on layer 1 of the XRP ledger. Now that also leads to many additional questions, and the one that's most curious to me is, how is that even possible? Because over the year, and I'm not saying it's not, just to be clear, it's like I'm asking a question. In recent years, I've seen David Schwartz talk about this, a number of times, how when you're creating a blockchain, there are trade-offs. You have to decide what you want it to be technically capable of, because it can't do all things. There are always trade-offs. And so if you want to be cryptocurrency, be really good in terms of payments, can you have highly functional smart contracts? And I'd seen the arguments made that the answer seems to just be no, because if you want to give smart contract functionality, and I'm not a developer, so it's difficult for me to answer even why, in terms because I don't code stuff. What would the trade-offs potentially be? And so that's why, and I'd seen David Schwartz say stuff along those lines over the years. So given that that's the case, it's fascinating to me, and this is why I admit I need more knowledge. I just want to share with you what I know. But Wei-Win saying, well, we got the Hooks Amendment. You can have, on layer 1 on the XRP ledger, it just needs to get approved, you can have smart contract functionality. And without it, you're not going to get sufficient developer activity. That seems to effectively be his position here. So I am curious, how is it that you can have that additional functionality? I would love to have the answer. I'm going to get it. There's more to be done. But here's what Wei-Win had to say. And this is from June 1st. Why is it that the ETH/EVM ecosystem's coming up with new cool features and ideas? And why is the XRP ledger always playing catch up? Because of smart contracts. You don't have to change the entire blockchain protocol. You get a blank canvas, come up with a new feature, and build it. I've been around in the XRPL ecosystem long enough to be certain it's not because of a lack of brains and creativity by XRP ledger developers. It's insanely hard to write core XRP ledger code. Even harder to get your ideas merged by RippleX developers. Close to impossible to get it voted in. So how can XRP ledger protocol chains lead instead of play catch up with the latest crypto/DeFi fad and retail features? By giving XRP ledger protocol developers a blank canvas for their ideas and creativity as well. And at XRPL Labs, we've built just that. Hooks. With hooks, developers can add their own logic and state to accounts on XRP ledger protocol chains with hooks enabled. Better key management, compliant features, enterprise features, games automation, limited signing delegation. One implementation to rule them all. Almost half a year ago, we published a blog about hooks. Hooks aren't just an idea. The technology exists today. On our Hooks v3 testnet, the Hooks Amendment is coming. We just finished a full Hooks security audit by @GoFYEO, report to be published soon. We're working with compliance and legal to get a Hooks-enabled sidechain running. The chain will be there to stay, complementary to the XRP ledger. It will launch with Hooks enabled from Ledger 1. No ICO, no airdrop. We're not leeching. We're expanding the ecosystem in thread. So that's what he had to say. Now, I also came across this in response to that. Neil Hartner, who is a senior staff software engineer at Ripple working on ODL, on-demand liquidity, he responded to Wei-Win and he wrote the following. So the question is, why, effectively, and I'm paraphrasing here, why don't we have this type of functionality in the XRP ledger when ETH has it? And I really condensed that down, but I just showed full context, so you know what I'm talking about. So in response to that essential question, Neil Hartner, Ripple employee, wrote, same reason ETH/EVM ecosystems have repeatedly had millions stolen due to smart contract bugs, but you never hear about that happening in the XRP Ledger ecosystem. In fair enough response, and at this point, to be clear, I need more data to come to a firm conclusion. That's how I am in life. Before saying I believe so and so, I want to have a sufficient amount of information. And then as I acquire more information, I might start to say things like, I suspect or believe this is more likely or more accurate, likely more accurate, more probable, so on and so forth. But I am just too early on to even state anything even close to that. But Neil Hartner has his position there, obviously. And Weitze-Win responded and does not agree with that clearly. Most of it anyway. He said, true, which is great, until that turns the XRP ledger into the Nokia of crypto. Yeah, we don't want that. So it's true. He's saying true. Yeah, you're not hearing about the millions and the stolen so-and-so due to smart contract bugs. Well, because there aren't smart contracts. But Weitze-Win's pointing out here, that's true, and it's great that we're not having that. But what if XRP Ledger becomes the Nokia of crypto? Remember when Nokia was the king of phones? Like, if you're roughly my age, then you remember playing Snake on a Nokia phone. Are you playing Snake on a Nokia phone today? No, you are not playing Snake on a Nokia phone. Just saying here. Now, there is this tweet from XRP community member Moonchaser, who wrote yesterday the following. The recent debate about smart contracts amongst the builders, validators, and community members in the XRP Ledger community has sparked a lot of interesting discussions. XRPL Hooks has been in DevNet since February 2021. If Summon, which is XRPL Labs, that's the rebranding, find it conducive and feasible to develop a Hooks XRPL sidechain, then I am excited to see where this may go. Huge word of appreciation to all the builders in the space and the community members who continue to educate and bring light to all their efforts. Too many to name y'all, but we're watching and waiting in anticipation. And we actually have a bit more news, though, because something happened just at the time of recording this 5 hours ago, which I'm going to show you in a second. And that's how I came across this. So shout out and credit to XRP community member Moonchaser. She updated what she wrote yesterday, and today she said, good morning, XRP community. I guess we don't need to anticipate any longer. The Hooks sidechain is coming to the XRP Ledger. So Summon, X-A-M-A-N, Summon, formerly XRPL Labs, also Evernode, at Evernode XRPL, et al., are able to build straight away with the functionality of Hooks, while the amendment is still pending on mainnet. What does this mean? I believe this opportunity allows XRPL devs to have even more fertile bed/space to grow, build, and further expand the XRPL ecosystem. The Hooks sidechain is going to be a utility-driven chain. Looking forward to the launch of Evernode and future projects to come. Good luck with XRP Ledger builders. And so what you're talking about here potentially, and I was discussing this with somebody, one of my fellow XRP YouTubers who I won't name because I don't divulge discussions that I have with anyone, period, without permission first. I mean, if somebody tells me something that I know they said publicly, that would be different. But an idea that was discussed here is it looks like perhaps, according to my fellow XRP YouTuber, that, there could be a fight for the dominant chain. So my understanding, based on what was told to me, is that this sidechain, it's just a fork of the XRP ledger, and it's a fight now to see which chain is going to be the dominant one. That's what was cited to me, and I get, admittedly, like I keep saying, I don't have enough firm opinion on this because I need to learn more. But it's fascinating, which is why I'm just reporting on the stuff that I do know at this particular moment in time. But check this out. So here was the thread that was shared by Moonchaser. This was written by somebody named Woe Jake, who's described in the bio here on Twitter as independent Evernode evangelist and hot pocket developer. And now try lean pockets too. And so Woe Jake wrote the following. Important announcement to all. The XRP ledger ecosystem will have a new separate ledger that will have XRP as its native asset. More on this thread. The Hooks sidechain is a separate ledger powered by the XRP ledger consensus protocol with the Hooks amendment enabled. And so, folks, again, this is why this is happening here. If the Hooks amendment were already enabled on the XRP ledger, my understanding is this wouldn't even be happening. So it looks like you're talking about competing chains. Hence me beginning the video with this idea, XRP and XRP Cash, maybe? Could XRP become something that is XRP Cash-esque in the future? It's not a crazy idea. We know it's possible. Wojciech then says, it will introduce a unique line of features, applications, and opportunities to grow that are practically non-existent on the XRP ledger. With Hooks, developers are able to build and deploy a variety of products and features without needing to push changes directly on Ripple, which may take up months to even show up on the network for voting. This is amazing. The rate of R&D on the XRP ledger ecosystem will skyrocket. Developers, teams, and enterprises are able to jump into the Hooks sidechain and do research and development straight to it, as the underlying network is very, very similar to the mainnet. The interface is the same, the ledger framework is the same, the consensus protocol is the same. Teams are able to leverage Hooks and expand their line of products in a flexible manner, allowing them to introduce new income streams in ways never seen before on the mainnet. The more good hooks there are on the network, the better it is for everyone. We will grow. Of course, users are able to leverage Hooks and expand their application of the XRP ledger, giving them the opportunity to extract more value from the network in a friendly way, and in turn, making XRP more than just an over-marketed gas token. With Hooks, Evernode and other solutions atop of the Hooks sidechain, the underlying network and its native asset XRP will have natural demand as the network develops in terms of its applications, user base, and liquidity. We will see natural adoption and development here, no BS. While a hook has its limited capabilities, Evernode will be launching right after the network. Evernode is a Layer 2 smart contract solution that is super flexible and powerful. Evernode dApps are able to interact with off-chain systems. It can compute, store, provide anything. With Hooks, Evernode, and solutions atop of the Hooks sidechain, each dev/team/enterprise will be able to grow independently. New apps, new income streams, new protocols, new ways, honest ways. This will be written in the books. This is natural evolution backed by consensus. So, and then he says, to end this thread, I'd like to say that there is always room for improvement, room for collaboration, room for support. The Hooks sidechain will be maintained and developed in a truly supportive, direct, and good faith manner. That is my standard, end quote. So there you go. We'll see what happens here. Again, I'm still learning. I'll be happy to report in future videos additional stuff. Now, the reason that I'm going so out of my way to note that I am still learning on this is just in case I did articulate anything that's not quite correct, if I'm a little off or something, or even if I'm way off. I'm happy to be corrected. I just wanted to acknowledge that up front. I'm operating in good faith here. So if I got something wrong, let me know. Happy to correct the record in a future video, because that's the right thing to do here. And in addition to that, I'm sure people here listen, because look, I'm not a know-it-all. I'm not some sort of expert. I'm sure there are people listening that have more information. Share it. Share it with the rest of the community. I'll be checking stuff out, and I'll be happy to credit people in a future video next time I cover this particular topic as things continue to unfold. But it's fascinating, right? The idea of a competing XRP ledger, is it going to get traction? To what degree will it be competing? Does everyone even agree that it is competing, or is it purely complementary? Because that's another question. I mean, the way it was described to me by someone is it's potentially competing to be a dominant chain. If anybody thinks anything to the contrary, I'm open-minded here. I'm just saying that at this point in time, I'm pretty close to a blank canvas on this particular topic. Similar to how when I came into crypto in 2017, I was just here to learn, And then you hear arguments from both sides, and then you figure out what makes most sense, and then you start to believe stuff. And that's really how any adult should come to conclusions in life in general on any topic. So that's what I'm doing with this. It's interesting though, isn't it? That's why I said, like, at the outset of the video, kind of wild stuff. Kind of wild stuff. It's just with the nature of decentralized blockchains, like that is how it should be. Honestly, I'm not even upset about this. I don't like. I don't know why I would be. I mean, I don't know if maybe some of you out there are like, wait, threatening my XRP. Well, hold on, no. Just first of all, I want to know for sure that that's the case. Second of all, is it really threatening? If you're paying attention, you're seeing what happens here. Is it actually a threat, or would this be a natural evolution that we should all support? So lots of questions out there to be answered. But apparently this is really, really, really happening. And we'll just keep talking about it, but I'll wrap up here. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the Moon Family Sedan.